Hello. Today's session is about this sort of thing, leaves and autumn colours and this sort of thing. But before we do that, let's do some warm-up drawing. So if you haven't done your stretching and breathing exercises, please pause the video and do them now. But if you have, let's get the black pens out and do some drawing exercises together. It doesn't matter what kind of pens you're using. Let's start off, whatever pens you've got. I'm using black Posca pens, 0.9 in both hands, and I've got some leaves here. Now, actually I've got loads of leaves everywhere. I've got loads and loads of dried ones here, and I've got some in bags. They're a lot easier to work with if you keep them in a bag, actually, and especially an airtight bag. These ones I've had for probably over a week and they're still nice and moist. They're a little bit easier to work with. So let's choose a leaf. Now you can look at my leaf or you can look at your own leaves. Let's just flick those off. Now I'm not trying to make a perfect drawing of that leaf. What I'm doing is warming up my coordination, and my coordination is pretty bad these days, so it's important. And it's also important to have fun. So let's see what I can manage to do. The more you do these kinds of drawings, the more your drawing skills and observation skills will improve. Now you can see I've gone in way too thin there, but yeah, no, I quite like it. That's not bad at all. Let's try another one. A couple of oak leaves. I've been amazed by how much of a variety there is in oak leaves. Right, so I'm going to really challenge myself now. I'm going to do one leaf with this pen and one leaf with this pen, and I'm not going to look at my drawings. I'm only going to look at the leaves, and you can draw along with me if you like. Wow, this is really hard. Yep, they don't look anything like them. Brilliant. Okay, that's absolutely fine. I'm happy with that. What else have we got? Oh, that's nice. Actually, I've got some other ivy here somewhere. No, it's going to be too tricky for me. How about that? Yeah, let's give that one a go. I'm going to do that with my left hand. And I'm not looking at the paper, I'm just looking at the leaf. Now, I'm doing these really quickly because I've got very limited time in this posture, but of course you can spend more time doing them. Now actually this is building up quite an interesting composition. let's give this one a go. Well, I'm a bit ashamed of myself because apart from the obvious ones, I don't know what any of these leaves are. I'm still doing it with my left hand. I normally draw with my right hand. I'm not looking at the paper. So hopefully one would imagine that by the time I do get to use my right hand and look at the paper, that it's going to be amazing, but I'm doing it really quickly. Okay, it's not bad. Now, since I've used a permanent marker, if this was decent enough paper, I could use coloured marker pens or paint straight onto that, but I can't. That would be horrible. It will be all wrinkly, and I don't want wrinkly wet paper. So I'm transferring to this sketchbook, and I'm going to show you how I made these. Now, the beauty about keeping a sketchbook is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It can just be your place to explore and find out what you like, what you love, develop skills, and you know, there's stuff like this in here. So this is where I've looked at these pens, I've tried them out. I've tried them out even more on other pages here, to find out what colours I really want to use. And I've looked really closely at leaves to decide which colours I want to use. And it doesn't mean I have to do them exactly as they are. That's what artistic license is, and that's what abstract art is. You can be very expressive. So, you know, I can use colours like this if I want to, even though, you know, clearly none of my leaves are this colour. There might be sections that are getting towards that colour. There's a bit around the edge there, but you know, I'm really pushing the limits of realism. I'm not worried about realism. I'm worried about self-expression. Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm interested in it. Look at that. Beautiful colours there. I really, really like that, actually. I might use that for something later. So, on this one, I used lots and lots and lots of these colours, and I quite liked it, but I thought, no, I prefer to use fewer colours. Oh, these are just some other experiments I did with colour. So I prefer it with fewer colours, and I quite like a bit of space. But I noticed when I did go out that I was really seeing different things, whether I was looking down or whether I was looking up. So this, for me, is really a looking down one, and I feel like I'm gonna put some really dark parts in here. Whereas this one, I want to be looking up. So I'm gonna use much lighter colours to show the sun and the light coming through the leaves. So there's two ways to start. One way is to do exactly what we did here and look at a leaf and draw some outlines. The other way, which is also fun, is to use actual leaves and draw around them. Now, the more moist your leaves are, the easier this is going to be. Actually, I'm going to demonstrate with one that's a bit less complicated. I don't know what that is, but I love it with its three little horns. So I'm using a brush pen, and the reason I like using these is because it gives me different line qualities. I'll demonstrate here So if I'm tracing around this and I am doing heavier and lighter lines, then I end up with something that's quite interesting afterwards. So I've got thicker lines, I've got lines that are barely there, and I find that really interesting. Other people might prefer to have more consistent lines, in which case something like that would be better. Or you might like to have really, really thin lines. Use something like this. So all I'm going to do is very quickly, again, because I have got very limited energy to be able to sit in this posture without being in stupid amounts of pain. I'm just going to trace around some leaves. I'm not even doing it right on the edge, and I am doing it really quickly. You might like to take a bit more care, but this is my style. Ooh. So you end up with all these beautiful contours, and you could do as many or as few as you like. So the more shapes you draw around, the more complex your pattern's going to become. Now this one that I did earlier has got quite a lot going on, and I decided with this one to start doing these small shapes that felt to me like they could be little bits of sky showing through the leaves. Obviously you wouldn't have all of these leaves together up against the sky. It's just an impression that I got when I was out looking at trees. So what I've done here, because I feel like this is it's too deep, this blue, I've just done a small amount, and then I've used these water brush pens. So okay, let's do this one for example. So I've just put a small amount of ink on there from this brush pen, and then I'm using this water pen to spread it out a bit, and I can probably even pick up some pigment from that and put it somewhere else. There we go. These brush pens are really handy. So you need to, if you're going to use water with them, you need to let them dry properly before you start putting adding another colour, or you might want them to blend in together. So these are colours I've selected. These are Arteza brush pens, and I've done quite a lot of looking at these lately. So these are the colours green tea, sunset yellow, autumn red and orange rust. These are the ones I used here, and I've used quite a lot of water with the autumn red, and I quite like that in some places. I'm more into the really deep tones there, and I really like these really deep browns here, so I might use those. But as always, I'm such a lover of blue and orange. So what I would do here, if I decide, okay, so what do I want to be the predominant colour? And I want it to be this. So I'm going to first start with the largest shapes, Now, I'm really not worried about going over the lines. This is my style of work. I'm messy. It's free rather than messy, actually. I can't afford to spend ages trying to make things perfect. But if that's what you like to do, oh, it's fine, go for it. Get them as perfect as you possibly can. It's got a weird tapping noise behind me, and I just looked around and it stopped. Weird. Okay. Now I can pick up what's on this brush and I could move it somewhere else. And then I've got a much lighter version of that. Give it a bit of a squeeze. Make sure you've got a paper towel handy in case you over squeeze it. Now, something else you can do, let's block that a bit, a little bit too much water on there. You can go around the edges. Where you've already got wet, you're working wet on wet, so you'll get some interesting kind of blending going on if you've got enough water on there. But actually I've blotted too much of mine off so you can't see it. Let's give that another go. There we go, and then you get that blending. So then the next one I would do is probably this one here, and I go around all these little shapes. This is why these brush pens are so good, because you can get in these little delicate shapes. Whoops. I'm not worried that I've gone over the line. I'm not looking for perfection. The other thing is, if you're gonna do this with brush pens, of course, if you're spreading out the pigment with water, you're using up less pigment, so they won't run out as quickly. And this is my favourite colour out of this pack that I do seem to use a lot, so it's definitely going to run out quickly. Mind you, autumn's basically over now, isn't it? I really wanted to get this done before the end of November, but I've had a rough couple of weeks, and this is the first time I've been able to do any art. So it's nice to be doing this again. It all looks a bit different when it's completely dried out as well. And of course, if you've got leaves with these little frilly or spiky edges, it's up to you how true you are to them. You can just use them to get a basic shape. And obviously the richer you want your colours to be, the less you would be mixing water to extend the pigment. I don't know what this is going to look like because I haven't tried doing it with a blue background before. You could do this with watercolours if you've got watercolour paints. Oh look, see what I've done there? There was too much water and I obviously blotted it in the wrong place, but I really like the way it's collected there. I'm actually going to go for a lighter orange. Now, when I was out having a good look, I was really looking for orange leaves and there weren't any, because there aren't any. They're not orange, are they? They're brown. Even the ones that look really orange when you're looking up at them, you're looking at them from a distance. That's not orange, that's a rust colour, and it's even less orange than the rust that I've used. You know, they really are not very orange at all. What about this one? Pale orange? I suppose, well, let's have a look. It's a bit like this one. But you could get a whole painting out of just one leaf, because some of them have got so many hues and tones in them. I'm using a pointed brush there, but I should be using a flat one. It's just, that was the first one I picked up. But if I was in less of a hurry, I'd use a flat one for blending. Like these small ones are really just for getting up into little corners with. Yeah, kind of. Okay, so I'll probably use that one a bit more, and then I'm gonna go for it with this orange and see what happens. I might hate it, and if I do, it doesn't matter because I can go over it. Yeah, I don't like it. So, where's that one I just picked up? I'm going to blend these in together. Not with that one though. This one. Yeah, that's better. It's got a kind of a warm autumnal glow to it. So I'm just going to carry on like this. And eventually it will look something like this, except it will have blue bits in it. So just have some fun. And please, if you do make something and you've got an Instagram or a Facebook account, I'm really interested to see what people are making. So you could message me directly. It's Jojo's Mojo Co on Instagram, Jo Mooland on Facebook. Thank you very much. Have fun, and hopefully I'll make another video soon. Ta-ra for now.